Hello, folks. Welcome to another bonus episode of Science Fiction Book Club. My name's Abu, and as always, I'm joined by my dear friend.
That's Opsa.
Opsa, we are here to talk about episode 10, the season 1 finale of the Murderbot television program. I have a lot of good things to say about this episode.
Yeah, same.
Before we jump in, a couple of small housekeeping notes. Spoiler warning, y'all know this by now. Make sure you've watched episode 10. Make sure you've watched the entire first season of this show before you continue listening today. And of course, we have covered the first 2 novellas on this podcast. So we highly recommend you've at least read those along with us before you continue listening. We might get into some light book spoilers as well. So just want to play it safe. Okay, so let's recap this episode and then talk about our thoughts on the first season.
Let's do it.
So in episode 10, Murderbot wakes up in a lab after its seeming demise at the end of episode 9. And oh my gosh, instantly it gets tragic. We learned that Murderbot is in this lab and the techs are about to wipe its memory.
Oh no.
And also install a brand new operational governor module.
Damn.
Oh my God.
There goes Murderbot.
There goes Murderbot. I was shocked.
Yeah.
When I realized what was happening, I locked into this episode.
Totally.
And honestly, for the rest of the runtime, I didn't lock out. I was glued.
Yes.
Meanwhile, while Murderbot is undergoing surgery, the crew, now safely back on the corporation rim, is confronting this goddamn corporation that nearly got them killed. And they're basically fighting with the lawyer. They're like, yo, you don't want us to reveal what went down on that planet. So you give us our sec unit back and we'll stay hush-hush. Let's not play this game. The corporation gives the usual corporate spin and deny, plays the classic corporate game. And the crew needs to figure out what to do in order to get Murderbot back. There's a tragic, heartbreaking scene where the newly outfitted Murderbot,
yes,
now with the governor module, its memory utterly wiped, walks with the cops to what we will soon learn is a literal worker strike.
Yeah, big protest.
And along the way, Rati recognizes Seki. And Rati's like, yo, Seki, it's me, your buddy. I found you. We found you. We've been trying to help you. Where have you been? Doesn't recognize him one bit, and in fact, holds a gun up to Rati's face to get him to back off.
Yeah.
Really tragic, and I think effective scene. Meanwhile, the crew is trying to figure out what to do. Well, how the fuck are we getting our Murderbot back? They're wiping its memory.
Right.
How can we... Is there anything we can do? And it turns out the company likes to data mine the memory of these sec units and use whatever they can to make money off of. And that means there are backups of Murderbot's memories somewhere on the servers. And the crew decides, we got to get our hands on these backups. We got to download them back into Murderbot and get our sec unit back.
Yeah.
That's the game plan. Meanwhile, like I said earlier, Murderbot arrives with a bunch of other sec units in just police garb at a worker strike and begins beating the shit out of people. It was actually kind of dark
brutal
and horrific.
Yeah,
I was like, oh
totally.
my gosh, we're going there.
Yeah.
We're actually doing it.
Yeah.
The Murderbots walk into this crowd of workers who are just seemingly looking for decent pay and rights.
Healthcare.
All the basics. You all
wage,
know. Yeah. You all work in a corporate system. You get it. And the sec units walk in and start beating everyone up.
All right.
But Murderbot glitches. Something deep in its programming glitches, causing it to freeze up, and these striking workers take advantage of that and actually start beating up Murderbot instead. Murderbot gets swarmed by a bunch of workers.
Yeah. Well, it has a moment where it's basically remembering and kind of reliving the experience of shooting the 57 clients of its on the mining expeditions. So
exactly.
It kind of, its memory has been purged, but it still has organic parts, and it seems like there was a vestige of at least this very traumatic experience still kind of a bit of a kind of a ghost in the shell, as it were.
Absolutely. Which clearly hints to us that this, like you said, I think traumatic is the exact word to use for this memory. This is clearly a traumatic memory that Murderbot has not processed yet. And it comes back to haunt it here in this moment, despite its memory being wiped. So, cutting back to the crew. We got to get these memory backups back, folks. So, Garothan then visits his old dealer on the Corporation Rim. I was like, oh my gosh, this episode continues to get darker and darker. His old dealer now has a daughter and a family and doesn't deal anymore. He's out of the game. Like, what are you doing here at my apartment? And Garothan basically is like, buddy, you fucking owe me.
Yeah.
Give me your security clearance. Get me into the sec unit memory backup room.
Right.
And so that's where Garothan goes. He's able to plug in. He's able to download. This was crazy. Download Murderbot's memories into his own brain.
Totally. Yeah.
Into his own system. Augmented human.
Yeah.
Wild. A wild way to carry and then transfer those memories to Murderbot.
Totally.
Meanwhile, Mensa is, in some sort of like public square area and talking to the press.
Right.
And they're going public with this.
Right.
They're revealing what happened down on that planet
right.
and the corruption within the corporation. And if the corporation's not going to cooperate, we're spilling the beans, baby. Ironically, and kind of tragically, the press almost don't give a shit.
Yeah. They're more concerned with whether sex units can get married on the Prezok's territory,
Yeah, they're more fascinated with these weird hippies. What do you hippies do? Do you give the robots rights on your planet?
Right.
And Mensa has to be can we focus? I'm talking about company corruption. This is a bombshell.
Right.
I thought that was kind of, again, in a show that has up to now been so goofy.
Yeah,
we're taking somewhat of a more poignant and darker turn as far as sort of the political commentary goes in this episode. I really appreciated that. Again, in my opinion, this is when sci-fi is at its best, when it's holding up a mirror to current society. So then we cut back to Sec Unit, who now that everyone knows is clearly fucking malfunctioning, melt them down for parts. We can't have a dysfunctional unit out there on the front lines against those dangerous and malicious striking workers.
Yeah.
So Sec Unit is about to get melted down, but at the very last second, just in the nick of time, members of the crew burst in with rights to the Murderbot.
Yes.
The company has caved because of public pressure, and they are now in possession of this Sec Unit legally.
Mm-hmm.
So back at at their apartment, at their suite, wherever they are, Murderbot has its memories back and is able to tell everyone that it's missing 2 episodes of Sanctuary Moon. You forgot to download those.
Which was honestly great.
Such a good bit. Yeah. I really liked that.
Right. It's first words as soon as it comes back online, basically.
So funny. And this is where we get a series of really, really affecting and touching scenes, I think.
Yeah.
Mensa basically tells Murderbot, hey, you are legally no longer property of the company. You are a free agent of the Preservation Ox Alliance. I will be your guardian, and we are going to take you with us back home.
Right.
You will get the freedom you so rightly deserve. You will get to choose what you want to do next. I will be your guardian, though.
Mm-hmm.
And then Murderbot kind of takes the day to process this, while the rest of the crew goes through a bunch of legal stuff and has meetings and more press events and yada, yada, yada. The whole day sort of passes by as Sec Unit clearly is uncomfortable about something and is really processing its new reality. What is it going to do now, though?
Right.
I'm a Sec Unit. I do Sec Unit stuff.
Right.
What does it mean to be a free agent?
Right.
Am I really free? It has to ponder a lot of these questions. That night, when everyone is asleep, Murderbot sneaks out of the room, is about to leave the room, opens the door while everyone is asleep, and Garothan wakes up. And we get what is easily, by far, my favorite scene of the whole season.
Yeah.
I think the writing, extremely effective, and it pays off on a lot of things we've set up across the previous 9 episodes. I also think the acting here from the person who plays Garothan, really powerful stuff.
Totally.
And the two of them kind of connect, right? You and I are the two outsiders here to Preservation Ox. We were adopted into their society. We were born into it. Some of the things they do, definitely weird. I get it, bro. Like the humming and the holding hands. I get it. It's weird.
Yeah.
But trust me, Murderbot.
Yeah.
You're going to come to accept it. And they're good people. At heart, they are just good people. What's happened is an objectively good thing.
Right.
So why are you leaving? Garothin has connected the dots here, realizes Murderbot's leaving, and attempts to kind of reason with it.
Right.
And Murderbot ultimately, gosh, in like a heart-wrenching way, isn't able to emotionally articulate anything yet, right? It's up to this point, it's just been a psych unit.
Yeah.
It hasn't explored its humanity. And so all it can really say in response is, Garothin, I need to check the perimeter.
Yeah.
Gut-wrenching stuff. And to Garothin, that's all he needs to hear. He gets it. There's no swaying Murderbot at this stage. Murderbot needs to go out on its own and leave, and it doesn't want to join Preservation Ox. Heartbreaking stuff. Garothin tears up at this, but allows Murderbot to go. Beautiful scene. My God.
Totally. I agree.
And that's where the season ends. That's where this episode ends. Murderbot leaves and boards a ship.
All right.
Is able to trade its many episodes of Sanctuary Moon for passage onto his ship.
That's right.
With the ship's bot.
Right.
And leaves as a really heartbroken Mensa also kind of looks out the viewport and sees the ship leave.
Yeah.
And realizes what has happened as well.
Right. Right.
And that's where we wrap up our first season. What did you think?
Last episode, best episode.
Agreed.
I mean, this season ended on such a high. I mean, just the storytelling alone. I think there's so many moments where we get to kind of see each of the individual characters that we've kind of followed along this entire season in a really rich and satisfying light. Like we see Mensa as the president of the Prezox Alliance, and
yes.
It's really impressive stuff. Like she absolutely is a commanding figure, and you can see why she is the leader that she is. And it's also interesting. There's a moment where you get to see that the Prezox crew seems to all live together, and as the president, she's just in the bunk with them, and doesn't have any kind of special abode. So
that's right.
I appreciated that bit of just kind of consistency with what we've basically come to understand about this, more or less utopian society, and it's very flat. There is an elected leader, but they're not given any special distinction, or they're really, they have to go on missions just like everybody else. They live in a humble abode with other members of the society, and it's honestly quite fantastic. And as you noted, the scene with Garothin was just so well done. And you have to remember that he had just kind of digested all of Murderbot's memories as well, and that must include its internal monologues and its kind of internal wrestling with its existence as a construct. And you see that reflected in how Garothin treats Murderbot. It's really quite compassionate and empathetic, and it's a totally different light on Garothin than we've seen for 9 episodes at this point. But in a way that's like very convincing. It doesn't feel out of place. It feels kind of full circle. Like it's really quite satisfying. So I agree. There's so much more I could say about this episode.
In a weird way, no one else on this crew knows Murderbot as well as Garothin.
No.
The one person who has been most suspicious of it for the whole show.
Totally.
Knows it so intimately.
Totally.
And on some level understands why Murderbot is leaving too.
Yes. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot more I want to say. I think there are a lot of other layers and, ways that we could kind of explore the themes that are kind of hinted at throughout this episode. But I don't know. You tell me. I mean, how are you feeling about this final episode of the season?
I think you put it absolutely correctly. Last episode, best episode.
Yeah.
This episode is what I'm hoping is the template for season 2.
Yes, totally agreed.
Right? This episode does so many things that I was hoping for early in the season.
Yeah.
It expands the story. Basically, everything that happens in this episode doesn't happen in the last chapter of the book.
Totally.
This is all new material.
Yes.
But it's material that makes sense with things we've set up the whole season, the Garathan relationship, the Mensa stuff. It adds stakes and drama in a way where, like, I believe we talked about this in our book coverage when we talked about the novella, but the novella, like, kind of wraps up so tidily. Very abruptly.
Yeah.
You know? And Murderbot still leaves, like, the main thrust of this episode is what happens in the book. Nothing has so dramatically shifted that we've left book territory. We certainly haven't done that. But we've added so much excellent drama and layers to these characters that don't exist in the book.
Right.
That add to our appreciation. And it show us more world building as well, right?
Yes.
The workers' strike, how the sec units are used as a police force.
Totally.
The way they're treated.
Yeah.
What happens when they're tragically mind wiped, you know?
Right.
Like, I think we saw an expansion of the world in this episode where it almost felt like the first couple episodes were a little nervous to do that.
Yeah.
They were nervous to push the bounds too quickly.
Right.
And I understand you got to ease people into a show.
Right.
But coming in as a book reader, coming in as a fan of Murderbot already, this is what I wanted from the show. Episode 10.
Absolutely.
And I'm so, so glad that the show found its footing over the course of this season.
Yeah.
For me, it was a very linear graph of enjoyment. I started very low.
Yeah.
I was not sold out the show at all.
Right.
And every episode that went by, every week when we hopped on these microphones and talked about it, I kept saying, I like this. I like this a little more than last week. I like this one a little more.
Yeah.
And here we are in episode 10 with me saying, like, this is great. This is great TV.
Yeah.
I was ready to kind of like summarize my thoughts on this show as it's good. It's not great.
Yeah.
A lot of it didn't work for me,
Right.
but I'm glad it got made.
Right.
That was what I was going to say.
Right.
Until these last batch of episodes, until 8, 9, 10.
8, 9, 10. Yeah.
These episodes shifted my opinion on the show in a dramatic way.
Right.
Where now I kind of look back in season 1 and I'm like, it has its faults.
Yeah.
I think it starts out quite weak, which in a streaming landscape, in today's modern streaming landscape, is tough.
Dangerous,
you really need to sell people right away.
Yeah, totally.
Which I don't think they did. But if you give this show a chance, if you binge it, right, just get through those first 3 as quickly as you can.
Right.
Get to 4.
Right.
If you can get to episode 4, I think this show can sell you, much like it sold me.
Right.
And by the time you get to 10, you will get wonderful emotional payoffs.
Right.
And I think it nails it. I think this show reveals that there is great potential here with this story, with this team, with the writing, even with the cast, which again, I frankly didn't like at all. Episode 1 and 2.
Right.
And now I'm like tearing up watching Garathan talk to Murderbot. So I will say, this has been quite the journey for me emotionally.
Yeah.
I was not sold on the show for a long time. And here I am, honestly, truly celebrating it. Very grateful that we got it. And desperately, Tim Cook, look at me in the eye. Desperately begging for a season 2.
Let's get a season 2.
Let's get a season 2.
Yeah. We need some fans to come out and we need to protest. I think we need to protest.
Yeah.
Set up a rally.
And my fear is that the numbers will not be good for this show because it starts weak. It's been this week by week drop. I implore folks to give this show a chance now that all 10 episodes are out.
Totally.
If for some reason you haven't given this show its due, binge it. Find a weekend to binge it. I think much like me, folks can be convinced. And I hope the decision makers behind the show understand that as well.
Right.
And are willing to give it another shot at a season 2.
I have to wonder if, part of the issue here is just the format. If this had been done as a mini series, if this was just 3-4 episodes and we get those first 3 episodes is just 1 hour of programming.
1 hour.
Instead,
longer. Yeah.
I feel like that would have been so much more kind of effective because it really is that you're spending 40 minutes where you're kind of questioning whether this is worth the investment. And then it kind of picks up and then maybe you give it a chance for a second episode, in this kind of like short miniseries format, and doing 10 weeks of weekly drops, or 9 weeks, I guess, 20 minutes each. I don't know if that's like the best format for this particular show.
Yeah.
All that said, I mean, I'm totally aligned with you here. I think this was certainly the best episode. It picks up in the back half of the season. And in this episode in particular, I felt like there were really great nods to some kind of bigger sci-fi ideas that were really quite interesting. I mean, the treatment of sect units as essentially like an augmented military force that could be deployed against humans, that could have their minds wiped, that, are basically blank slates for whatever a corporation wants to imprint on them. I mean, that's a pretty fascinating concept, and
it is.
There's a lot of kind of moral questions raised there. And I will say, of the Prezox crew, I mean, this kind of really idyllic, utopian society, they do think of Murderbot as a being that, despite basically being an adult with full sentience and cognizance, requiring a guardian. And
right? Doesn't that feel a little icky?
It's a little icky, And there's also the fact that when kind of asked by the press during the a press briefing that Mensa did, it was kind of a silly question, but one of the reporters asked, I've heard that on your planet or on the in the Alliance, sex units or constructs, let's say, can marry humans. And Mensa does say, no, that's a rumor, that's a myth. That no, of course not.
Interesting, right?
And it kind of raises a question of why.
How far
exactly
does the supposed freedom go in Preservation Alliance?
Exactly, and so. And obviously we know that Murderbot, despite loving its role in the society, Murderbot clearly felt at odds. There's still a tension here between its freedom and the rights that are being kind of conferred on it.
Yes, yeah,
which is really quite interesting.
Right, which is certainly a layer in the book as well. And Definitely. In fact, I think the show manages to hit it a little further out of the park than even the book did.
Perhaps, yeah.
Definitely an interesting layer. Okay, last thing I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
Tiny, tiny, tiny reference to book 2 here, folks.
Yes.
Did you think we were going to get an art tease in the final shot to this episode? Because I was like holding my breath. I was like, oh my God, we're going to get art.
Yes. We saw art.
We saw I mean, art. That has to be art.
It must be art. So happy about that. Honestly, I would have even have, if I could have heard Art speak a little bit.
I wanted to hear Art. I just wanted
one throwaway line, just welcome aboard. Anything,
Anything.
Because, obviously as huge book fans, we know Art. We love Art. We want to see Art.
Art supremacy.
I think enough of a nod, I think, that
a good nod.
I'm satisfied with it. But I worry those who haven't read the novellas, they don't know what they're missing out on. They don't know quite how kind of a sick of an Easter egg that was for us.
Yeah, true. Well, hey, those folks are in luck because we have covered both the first and second novella on this very podcast. And folks, if you're interested, dive in with us. Grab a copy of those books. Go back in the feed, check out our coverage of it. The Murderbot books are a blast.
Yeah.
And we really dive deep in our coverage of this novella and the many ideas and themes that are present in there. So if you watch the TV show and it convinced you to check out the books, we recommend that you do. And we have episodes for you to listen to and read along with us if you choose to go on that journey with us.
That's right.
All right, Opsa. Here we are. It's the end of not only our coverage of Murderbot Season 1, but also the end of Season 2 of this very podcast.
Say it ain't so.
It's been a long one. It's been a wild Season 2. We made a couple of pivots to do things like cover Murderbot and squeeze extra books in. We snuck in Mickey 17.
That's right.
There was a lot of great sci-fi to cover in the past couple of months. And, we're going to take a well-deserved short little break. We'll be off for a month. But folks, we will be back later this year to get into a whole other set of books in our third season of the show. And we hope that you'll be joining us for more conversations about the truly incredible world of sci-fi.
So a lot of sci-fi on the horizon.
There's so much sci-fi. Foundation Season 3 literally fucking dropped today. You know, there's so much sci-fi. There's endless sci-fi if you're a sci-fi lover like us. So lots to consume, lots to talk about, lots to read, lots to watch, and we'll be talking about much of it on this show. So thank you for joining us on this journey, everyone. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage of Murderbot and the books we covered this season. We will be back next month to kick off Season 3 and a whole new set of books, and to go on many more adventures in the incredible world of science fiction.